Hello everybody and welcome back to Seeds of the Cross. So today we have a bit of a different video. This video is more of a profile that I did on an artist called Montell and the video is called Seeds of the Cross. And I think that what I wanted to do with this series is to look more at different people, and as a lot of times there's people who have impacted me in a very positive way and impacted my walk with God. With the previous videos, you have like people. We have different people who have explained their testimonies and things like that. And I think that with that, I want to continue that, moving to different people who I may not even know or may not even have like the ability to interview them, but I want to, hopefully by sharing their testimony and how God has impacted them and how God has like blessed their work, it can still be a blessing to all of us. So yeah, that's the goal of this video today, and just working with it. Yeah, it's raining, there's gonna be thunder, so we're gonna keep on pushing, and hopefully we get like hopefully it's still going to be fruitful. All right, so we're gonna start off this series profiling Montell, one of my favorite artists of all time, and particularly because of how the impact that he's had on my relationship with God, especially at the time that he did. Because I discovered Montell in 2018 when because he used to do these like videos about these live videos on like different topics, and the one that appeared on my YouTube was how God helped me fight pornography, and it really drew me in at the time because I'd never seen someone so vulnerable and like transparent about their fight with porn. Because at the time I was also going through that fight, and I never thought that people speak about it. So to see him doing this video, and as someone who's looked like around our age and like, my age, and like he was relatable in like a lot of ways. And so seeing him do that video was like it was groundbreaking for me at that time. And I think that one of the things it did for 16-year-old Hans was it laid the foundation for my vulnerability and my ability to be transparent, that I think has like allowed me to talk about porn in the way that I have right now. And the fact that he was a Christian, the fact that he's a Christian, the fact that he's Christian, he allowed a lot of his Christian relationship with God to impact him, and to be bold in him explaining and expressing how God was helping him. That point helped a lot, in like the fact that I didn't have to be perfect as well. And I think that for me at that time, I can't explain the impact and the trajectory that it put me on with my relationship with God as well, because it just gave me this new freedom to be able to say like, God is with me in my struggle. God is with me in my walk with him, and also with my own imperfections. It carried me through that. So I was like I'm super grateful for the fact that I discovered him at the time that I did, right? And I think that's the drawing. That's like what drew a lot of people into Montell is that transparency. Being a young Christian, I hope many people can attest to this, but it can sometimes feel very overwhelming because of how perfect you think you have to be, or how many rules you think you have to follow, and also how many rules you think you're breaking all the time. And I think that's because of the age that we're in. We live in an age where we are connected to so many different brothers and sisters in Christ, where we are consuming more Christian content and more Christian perspectives and experiences than I think anyone has ever in the walk with God, I would say, or in Christianity, I would say. And one of the things that I've struggled with the most, and one of the things that helped me to resonate a lot with Montell was how honest his videos were. A lot of Christian content is mostly focused on what you can do, or what you're doing wrong, or what you shouldn't be doing. But there's not a lot of content that I have found in my walk with God where it's people being honest about their experiences, people being honest about them stumbling. And I think that's that's something that drew me to Montell Fish a lot, especially in his early videos and those introspective videos. Was he was someone who was going through life, and he was honest about like the ups and the downs, when he would stumble. Bro, this dude used to make so many videos about him like falling back into porn and like stuff like that. The one video that sticks out was when he was like, he watched porn, or there was a video where he watched porn without like watching porn, and like without like going on a site. And if you watch that video, there's this like the vulnerability in like how he held, like he wanted to be accountable with people who he had never even met before, was so so eye-opening for me, because I was instantly like, I felt like I was connected to him in a way. And I think those type of videos, like especially when you are like when you're a growing Christian, it definitely gives you like that blueprint to be able to understand what it means to be accountable in the faith, what it means to live in community, even if it's virtual, what it means to really live in community. And I'm glad that I was able to like get into that. I was able to experience that, with him and in that time period a lot. And I think another thing that also drew me was the community. When you are watching a Montell Fish video, you do get the sense that the community that you are in are people who are going through the same thing, and people who are going through the same experiences, and they're not trying to put on this mask or this facade of who they are. It's a community where people are honest about their experiences, and people are honest about what they're going through, and not just dealing with like different topics, but dealing with like so many personal and really different topics that like I'd never spoken about in a church environment. Because I think a lot of people, where we grew up in these sanitized church environments where there are certain topics that we don't speak about, there's certain topics that we don't really like talk about with our Christian brothers and sisters, young Christian brothers and sisters. And so when I was when I would watch his videos, that was very eye-opening for me, and like being able to be in this community where we are open with each other and we are honest. We didn't need to go to the world. We didn't need to conform to the world to discuss sex. We didn't need to conform to the world to discuss wanting a relationship, or discuss even serious topics like feeling depressed or feeling anxiety. We didn't need to go to the world. We could do it in this in this godly context, because Montell Fish would be he would use verses, and he would grow my desire to read the Bible, and desire to even know like different things about God. And it was just it was such a beautiful time. That I think that season of in his channel was such a beautiful time for a lot of the people who were in that. And I think that's something which I would love to see more of, and to be cultivated. And I think we are seeing more of that in like so many Christian spaces and Christian environments. That's happening right now, and I'm super glad that I was able to like engage with them in that space. Now I think that's a good foundation for Montell as like the content creator. The other thing that I am so drawn to about Montell Fish as well, and in his testimonies and his life as a Christian artist, was his music. And I think that's something which was so impressive, his music. When I first heard his music, right? When I first heard Show the Signs, which is one of my favorite songs, which is my favorite song ever, I think that if you had a camera on me, you would literally see my pupils dilate, because I'd never heard gospel sound like this. I'd never heard this fusion of like this funk sound with this like neo soul and this like jazzy upbeat sound like made into a gospel track. It definitely opened my mind to what like Christian music could be and what it is actually. And I think at the time, for a lot of people, I think Montell Fisher's sound is so impactful. It has this like distinct sound to it because he's amazingly talented. He plays so many different instruments. He's able to combine these different like melodies and also his beats are crazy as well. And he just like creates these beautiful pockets of like spaces where you are first of all impressed by the sound, but also he combines them with these honest and these like beautiful lyrics that like draw you into this like world, that like take you, like they literally like immerse you in this like new world. And for it to be like Christian, for it to be where it feels like, I read an article and it said that Montell Fisher's music sounds like these intimate conversations with God. Like he's having these intimate conversations with God and he's letting you in. And you do see that in so many of his different albums and his different songs, where they sound like these cries. Like a perfect way to describe them would be, or to compare them would be to the Psalms, to the psalmist, where we see David like literally in different Psalms he's crying out to God. In other Psalms he's joyful. In other Psalms he's communicating his feelings, and I think that perfectly describes or compares as a perfect comparison to what Montell Fisher was doing in his earlier work. And I think that was so beautiful in its time. That was so beautiful in its in his expression. I think that he opened a lot of, for me especially, he gave me this newfound appreciation for worship. He gave me this because I'd never heard gospel music like that. So I was so drawn into like these different this new way to enjoy God through song. And I think that's a big part of what Montell Fisher's music did for not just me but a lot of people as well. And I think that is so beautiful, and I'm gonna be like forever like appreciative forever appreciative of his music and just like the sound that he has and its uniqueness and its truly just amazingness as well, man. It was so good. It was so good. So good. The other thing that the other thing I was drawn to by Montell Fisher as well was the fact that he made it okay to be a weird Christian. And this links to my earlier point about how we are coming from I was coming from a very sanitized Christian environment where I wouldn't feel open enough to discuss certain topics or discuss certain things. And for me, another thing about Montell Fisher's videos and also his content was he allowed me to be okay to be weird, to okay not to fit in, to be okay not to think the same way as other people, but to allow my individuality to be fine, to literally and the fact that it doesn't mean that I'm not Christian. It doesn't mean that the fact that I do certain things or I think a certain way makes me not Christian, but it actually it is a beautiful thing by God. This diversity is a beautiful thing. And I think that we're seeing that a lot more now, and I'm so glad that as I've grown in my early 20s, we are just there's so many different Christian people and these young Christian artists and content creators who are so they have this beautiful style and aesthetic that is so authentic to them. But for me, I would say that for me, the first person to open my eyes to that was definitely Montell Fish. And so I'm glad that he made it okay to be weird. He made it okay to do things differently, to do things my way. But without, and an important part was without needing to conform to the world, without needing to conform to the patterns or to the traditions or stuff like that of the world. But I was doing it within my, and my individuality was coming from my relationship with God, and that was coming from that. And so it was truly, I think one thing that I'm super, super glad about was that he allowed people, and I'm not sure it's not just me, but he allowed people to know that it's okay to be weird. It's okay to not be like everyone else. It's okay to be myself and to express myself. Have flipping what? I have earrings. I've did what is it? Braids. I've done different things, and I think a lot of that has happened in my expression because of being able to see people in the faith who are like Montell, who are able to like do things their own way. And so I appreciate that expression and the fact that I've been able to enjoy these different like forms of expression because of him as well, or inspired by him too. Final point, or second final point, right? One of the other things about Montell Fish, and as I look across his content creation and his different forms of expression over, especially in his early Christian artist days, was the fact that he helped me discover a lot of different Christian artists. So instead of Montell Fish being like this like one solitary like Christian artist and things like that, he opened my mind and he opened like my palette and like my music and content creation to different Christian artists. And in that, I think he pioneered for me specifically this community of Christian creatives, and he opened my mind to the idea of different artists and creatives in the space that I didn't know before. People like Madison Ryan Ward, people like Miles Carter, and like these different people who are like I had never known that Christian content could look these different ways. Oh, flipping, what's his name? Jonathan Ogden, Rivers and Robots, all of these different guys. Anton Bradford. I'm just going through this whole different list. Jonathan Solomon, Joseph Solomon. Sorry. They were such a community for me, and they were such a way for me to discover things about God, ways to look at God, ways to express myself, and that I didn't know existed until since like before discovering Montell Fish. And I think that it's a credit to him specifically just for me, but also being able to like to move my mind towards these different these different people and these different forms of expression that I didn't know exist before him. So I'm really, really glad that I was able to discover not just like one person, but this whole community of people who gave me who literally inspired my own content creation journey as well. And I'm so glad that, and musically, and these different ways that have impacted my relationship with God and my expression with people and in my social life. I'm proud to be able to have to experience their work, and to experience how God has used them to impact not just my life, but so many different people's lives. So yeah, shout out to Montell Fish, man. Shout out to Montell Fish. So, and every other Christian creative out there as well. And I think that this is going to be my last bit. Montell Fish has gone into a different like path, I'd say, in terms of like different. His work is different. It's very different and distinct from his work before. But I think that one thing I want to like also be maybe to be honest about and to talk about as well is that I think that where Christian creatives and where Christian content is right now, it's beautiful. I'm so proud to be able to be in this generation with these specific people, with these with the minds, with the artists that we have. People like Alex Jean, people like Caleb Gordon, and all these different people. I discovered this new artist called DC3 yesterday, and I was like literally listening to his songs. I don't know, he's young, but he creates amazing Christian music. And these are people who are so like creative, and they are doing amazing work in the Christian space. Harvey, Forrest Frank is literally doing my days. All of these different people. And so many people who I don't even know yet, And I'm sure you know more like artists than me, and content creators. Every day I'm just discovering like new Christian YouTubers who are doing literally amazing work. And these different podcasts and these different things, I'm so happy. Like, it just makes me happy. It makes me happy that God has been able to pour his heart out, and he's like continuously pouring out so much wisdom and faith and love and these different and wisdom over every day, like through the videos that I ingest and these different people. And I just wanted to say thank you to God as well. I think this video is about Montell fish, but I also want it to be about a form of thanksgiving for God's creativity and God's diversity and God's uniqueness, and the uniqueness that he's imparted in each and every one of us. I was watching a video yesterday by this YouTuber I'd never watched before, and she was speaking about like how God's identity, how we limit ourselves by not looking at ourselves through the lens of God and through the identity that God has placed in us. And in that there's so much life, and there's so much joy, and there's so much peace, and there's so much like goodness in art that comes from this place where you are rooted in Christ. And I don't want to say that it is always going to be positive, because Christian content comes from different places. It's not going to be roses and sunshines all the time. It can come from a place where you are lamenting as well. I don't want to limit that. I don't want to make Christian content to be this monolith. I think that the way that it is so diverse, and this diversity that we're all able to enjoy and able to create from, I think is such a beautiful thing that God has given to us. Each and every one of us, even if you don't make content, your life in and of itself is so beautiful, and it is such a work. It is you are God's handiwork. What's that? There's a verse, right? You're God's handiwork, and that just shows like how perfect you are. So it doesn't matter even if you don't create content. If you do, it doesn't matter, or what type of content it is. Movies, films, music, even you just being a businessman or teacher or anything. Like, your life is truly is a testimony to God, and it is a testament of God's goodness and his glory. And that's what it's about. It's his glory. That's what we do on any of this front, is for his glory. And so I'm glad that I am living in this generation with people who are amazing and who are genuinely talented and who are seeking God in amazing ways, from people who I know to artists who I don't know. Can I add No Big Deal, amazing artist as well? Just had to add him because he's cold. But I'm so glad that I'm able to experience and to be impacted and touched by these different artists and creatives and everything. So yeah, that is the video for today. That is everything. Thank you to God for this video and this time and this space. If you get to this point, I appreciate you so much, and I hope that this video has been able to be helpful, but also it has given you a different perspective on Montell fish, but also like Christian creativity in a way. Yeah, so there we go. Love you so much, and I will see you guys soon. I guess I should just say it. I'm going to be going to Kenya tomorrow, literally tomorrow. Today is the 17th. I'm going to Kenya tomorrow. So I don't know if I'm going to shoot anything for like the next 2 weeks, but I'll try to get this out if I can today, by the grace of God. If I can get this out today. In fact, I have to go home and like put all the videos together. But I want to try and do that, and then if I shoot a couple of videos in Kenya, I would love that. This is okay. The video is done, guys. If you can leave, this is now just rambling. the video is done. But if I would love to shoot a couple of videos in Kenya. I don't know, not like just anything. I don't even know what it would be, but just anything. Yeah. So yeah. So, and for everyone who's like traveling as well, journey message to everyone who's traveling, anyone who's on holiday, anyone who's working still. What else? Which one am I missing out? Anyone who doesn't have family, anyone who's going through like a dark time or who's not necessarily happy, people who are happy as well. Everyone, I pray that God is with you through this period, this holiday period, and I pray that you enjoy your December and the end of the year. I pray that you look back and regardless of how the year has gone, this year has been such a beautiful time. I think regardless of anything, God still deserves our honor and glory for in whatever way that He has carried us. So I just wanted to thank God for my life, but also for your life and everyone's life. And yeah, that is it from me. I'm done talking. I'm tired and I'm hungry as hell. But I'll see you guys very, very soon. I love you so much. Bye-bye.